Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Broken Wheel Gaming. You're with me, Mikey, as it should. And today, we're going to go through my top 10 board games of all time. The list I've spent a few weeks compiling, going through my collection, as well as some friends, and going through some other games that I've had the opportunity to play test with other publishers or other game groups. Should go really well. I'm also going to try to be using the BGG rating system that they have on their website for how I think the games really are. They're not going to match exactly what BGG says because obviously this is my opinion, not theirs. Without taking too much more time of talking about that, though, let's just get right into it. First up, before we start that list, I want to give you all a few of my honorable mentions. Games that didn't quite make the cut because they were just missing that little something extra to really elevate them, for me personally, into a top 10 format. First up, with honorable mentions, we're going to dive into Firefly the game. For those of us who are elder millennials and love sci-fi, this game and this universe needs very little introduction. Firefly the game, it's really great because it puts you in control of another Firefly class vessel. Where you have a captain, you have to go around hiring crew to perform jobs, to make money, and survive in the verse, as it were. There are many expansions for the game too, so you'll have other different kinds of ships that you can get. And really, the game, it holds a very special place for me. I love Firefly. The game got one season, definitely had more. The movie ties up some ends, but need a more season. You all know this, are fan show. So I won't hold up too much more. But even though it's near to my heart, didn't quite make my top 10 of all time. Sorry, Cap. Next up, moving in our honorable mentions, I'm going to go with Talisman 4th Edition, revised. Okay. This game, I've got to the table probably no less than 100 times during the course of me owning the game. I actually own it digitally on Steam as well. It is a great game where you take control of a hero class character, and your objective is to get to the center region of the board and claim the crown of command. This game, I think base game comes with like 35 some odd classes, all of them unique. How they work, function, and how they're going to cause you to interact with other players, and spaces on the board. There's only a couple stats you have to keep track of in the game, so it's very approachable for entry-level gamers. There's a very higher skill ceiling the more things you add to the game. Talisman itself has many expansions, causing the board to even get bigger and bigger, and gets kind of confusing the more you go with it. But if you're a big fan of just the base game, it's a good time. It's easy to get to the table, and for me personally, I will get a chance to play this every time I can. I love this game. Still, not enough to make my list. Moving on, though. Next up, we're going to have Moonrakers. Much like the Firefly game, you take control of a mercenary vessel, trying to establish a reputation, completing various jobs, be it military-type job, or smuggling, or drawing a blank right now, reconnaissance, things like that. And the fun part about this game, for me, is I love the table talk this game creates. The entire game is predicated on you completing these jobs. 95% of the time, you're not going to be able to do that job by yourself. You have to negotiate with the other players around the board, the other captains, to see if they will be willing to come and assist you to complete this job. Now, that negotiation could range from they want a cut of the money or the resources that are involved with completing the job. Maybe they want the reputation and you only really need the money. All of these factors play in, cause great tension among all the players. Because just because they commit to help you doesn't necessarily mean they're going to help you to the best of their ability. You still might fail when they offer to help. So it's a fun cat and mouse kind of game where it's all negotiation. There's a lot of player interaction. You can upgrade your ship. You can get like new crew member cards. Upgrade the cards inside of your little deck that you're going to flip over to see what you can accomplish towards the goals and requirements of the job that you. Teamwork is a good one. Teamwork makes the dream work, baby. But we're going to move on, sadly, to our final honorable mention of the evening. This would be War of the Ring. Now, Lord of the Rings fans, if you like board games and you like Lord of the Rings, they must have, I stress, must have game for your collection. This game offers incredible choice, and the scale is truly epic. There's an entire map of Middle Earth on essentially what is like 2 risk board size boards of region. All of the big landmarks of things you know from the movies and the books, they're all there in this game. With the expansions, it adds more of the heroes and villains, different parts of Middle Earth. You're vying to try to get the ring. Mount Doom. The game sets up, you're in Rivendell, the Fellowship. Anything that happens like that in the books or the movies has yet to be written. So your path to try to get the ring, Mount Doom, while the other player works tirelessly, to stop you. It's truly epic. The stories and the characters interacting and how the world shapes and changes based on the choices that you all make in the battles you choose to fight. The Dark Forces have an unlimited supply of reinforcements. All of the allied races not. Every choice matters. Where you choose to hold the line matters. Beware the eagles. Those things, they can screw you if you're the bad guy. Be aware of the eagles. That's all I'm going to say. But now we're going to dive into what you guys have been really, really waiting for. Came here for. My top 10 countdown. Bringing up the bottom of the list for me at number 10 is Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. This was my first delve into this publisher's library of games. I know I've talked about it in other videos, Making Realms. Killing it, guys. Doing great. All of your products, I can't stress enough. If you are a board gamer, you really love narrative and functionality of a game. This is great. Tainted Grail of Fall of Avalon blends Celtic mythology with Arthurian legend. So, naturally, it's going to be a good time if you're a fantasy lover. This is also supported by a narrative app, which helps you keep track of some things and voice acted throughout the entire thing with every event, story, arc, not even arc, tidbit of information that you get by visiting certain regions on this board. All while you're moving around this board, you're not heroes. You're just people trying to survive in a fairly hellish kind of landscape. The Knights of the Round Table, no one knows where they are. Camelot's in shambles. You're just trying to survive with the mists, or the weirdness, they call it, slowly re-consuming the land. Only these menhir statues are there to push it back. This game also comes with beautiful miniatures. Mine have been painted by my cohort Vic here, and they look great. It really adds a touch of flair to the game that's not necessarily necessary, but it's a beautiful accent to being able to see these monsters and other characters in a non-card form. Unlocking the Secrets of Avalon as you explore is such a huge part of the game, and the story is gripping. It hooks you in from the very get-go, offering you paths, choices, and every little time that you move and you get another little piece, get a little bit of an answer, there's more questions. How all of these things are transpiring at the same time. And to me, that was worthy of putting it at number 2. So, moving on, we are going to head to our number 9. So at my number 9, I have Scythe. Scythe is a worker placement game at heart. It has a very steampunk aesthetic with freaking mechs and airships. Alright, if that doesn't sell you enough on how cool this game is an alternate kind of trajectory that we could have taken from the 1920s. A more steam-powered society as opposed to logical society. The game is Risk-esque. However, I want to stress that this is not a primarily combat-oriented game. It is all about the worker placement and gathering resources, money, to be able to field units and achieve certain objectives. They're all slated on the board for you. And this game supports up to 7 players at a time, which is a huge game, each controlling a country or faction. Each of these factions have different abilities that will alter how they play. So there's always a change in how you approach objectives for each individual country. Countries are not called, the countries as we know them today, but it's heavily implied. There's different ways to win. I love that about a game. I like that there are different paths to victory, because not everyone's going to be good at the same thing. The board also double-sided. So if you're playing, a smaller game with 5 or less players, you can play on the smaller sided board. Everything's a little bit tighter. Not necessarily that the board that you are fighting over is a different size. It's just scaled smaller. Now, if you flip the board over, purchase the extension or the extension board piece, you can play on what looks like a actual war planning table. It was in some kind of war room from one of the World Wars. Moving pieces all around, and it truly gives it a different feel in its size and importance that certain places are. Really, it helps you elude and get that feel for you. Another awesome thing about Scythe, there's a single player mode. You can play against the game. You don't even need other people around to play it. It's awesome. I would suggest always get it to the table with friends. That's the way to play any game. The fact that there is a solo mode for when your group just can't make it. Love that. I love that option that is there. One of the campaigns, The Rise of Fenris, is an entire. Oh, sorry. I'm gonna stop real quick. 5, 4, 3. The Rise of Fenris is a nice expansion to Scythe, creating a campaign format. You play through, I believe it's 12 or 13 story scenarios, which alter and change the map. What is essentially Europe and Russia together. To showcase some historical figures. I won't reveal anything about that, because there might be some of you that actually want to go pick this up and play it. I don't want to ruin the surprise. It's too good. Anyway, we are going to now move on to number 8. So number 8, got Sleeping Gods. I had to put this on the list. We have been enjoying a live playthrough on our Sunday live streams. Be sure to go check those out. They're up on our channel. They're really good. With Sleeping Gods, the random events and choices that you make, exploring this uncharted archipelago of islands, is difficult and rewarding at the same time. It has its very high and low moments when you're playing the game, all dictated by the fate deck, which is not your friend 90% of the time. The game also requires multiple playthroughs to really explore all of this atlas map, experience all the different story threads that are built into the game. So in one playthrough, you're not going to get through it. So to me, that adds a lot of replayability. And more games need that. I love most games that are pretty simple and to the point, but if I'm going for a legacy type game, which this definitely is, I want the option to want to go back and experience it in a completely different way than maybe I did the first time. Sleeping Gods is also a true co-op experience. You're working with the other players at the table to accomplish these goals. And co-op is my preferred game, honestly. I love the idea of working together to accomplish some that more time, not just in games. Right. Sleeping Guys also creates like fun table banter. If you check out our playthrough videos, you'll notice it happens a lot. Also creates a lot of memorable experiences, and the art styling by Ryan Lockett is fantastic. I can't speak enough to it. Very enjoyable. But now we're going to move on. So coming in at number 7, we have Vindication. Vindication, big box that I picked up a couple of weeks ago in another one of our videos. You should check that out. Is a fun game where you are playing your own disheveled, wretched scumbag who's tossed overboard at the beginning of the game. That is how it starts for you. You wash up on shore, someone helps you, and becomes a companion for you. And then it's all about a redemption story of to vindicate your action, become better than you were. No two games of this, when you play, will be the exact same, as the tiles that make up the map are interchangeable for the most part. You are only required to have a certain count of tiles of certain types, but the placement's going to be random every time. Your board layout change. And then the end game triggers of the game, which there are 2 revealed at the start, and new one is placed every 15 points from the start, can end the game in an instant if someone has already met the objectives of that end game trigger. So long-term planning, while can work, doesn't always mean success. Sometimes you have to strike fast, build up as quickly as you can, and hope it's enough to hang on for the win. As I said, very fast-moving game. I find it very approachable for new gamers. The game, not overly complicated in its base format. As you add other things to the game, there are other expansions, things like that. The skill ceiling will increase, and you can strategize a little bit more. But that's half the fun, right? I love adding new stuff. Adding that little extra flair to change the game to make it better. This also has a co-op version of the game where you're trying to take down a giant beast map. You have to team up with the other players, try to whittle it down enough to prevent it from destroying the world. So, pretty good co-op. Some expansions for Vindication I would have to recommend, hands down, without a doubt, if you purchase Vindication, get the Chronicles. It is game changing for not just the things that it adds, but for the backstory and depth of your character that you're playing. It gives you kind of a story to follow, a true sense of trial that you had to overcome to obtain this item or this skill that your character now possesses. And it makes it really fun at the end of the game to just go around the table and reveal your story or how you became what you are, even if you didn't win. It's just a nice little fun little treat. So for me, I think it's a great game. And once again, they made a solo mode for it too, if you get the big box. You don't even need other players. You can experience that journey all by yourself. Enough about Vindication. Let's move on. Now, coming in at number 6, we have Sea of Legends. First off, pirates. Duh. Awesome. You don't even need to go further. You had me at pirates. You control a captain and a basic crew on a little dinghy, trying to increase your infamy to become the best pirate in the Caribbean. This game is also supported by an app which lets you implement each of the players' captains, love interests, and their nemesis, because each of you will have one. And when you import these things into the app, it interweaves all of the stories from all of the players, that as things happen, it's going to affect other players' stories, which I thought was a really cool little, dash of awesome that they put on there. Because there's been times where I'm playing and I go and talk to my love interest, then we have to go steal this character that another player has on their ship. And if I take that character, they cannot advance their story until they get him back. It becomes a very fun little tug of war, which obviously creates great table talk, banter, some not so nice words sometimes. It happens. But your choices shape the storylines. Most of these storyline choices will give you an option or two. Might come with a challenge that you need to pass a check to beat. And it's going to affect how the story changes and what your rewards might be. Another cool thing about Sea of Legends, the enemy factions game. The base game, I believe, it comes with 4. I have one of the bigger expansions has another 4, 5, I think, to it. And each of these factions plays their own separate way. And the NPCs, they can win the game. The NPCs need to be kept in check. They manage to summon their god or larger version of themselves, the game gets out of hand very quickly. So you gotta kind of work together, so it's like semi co-op but still PvP. I think it's a good blend. It definitely leads to some fun moments that I've shared at the table with friends. The narratives are also very fun. There are some adult innuendos that get thrown into that app, which, oh, you're pirates. Lewd humor, kind of their thing. The Caribbean map that you traverse across in Sea of Legends, filled with real places, is fairly accurate depiction of what the Caribbean looks like. Throughout the game, you're going to upgrade your ship, you're going to hire different crew members, you're going to bury treasure, and you're going to go hunting and searching for lost relics from rumors that you pick up at the local tavern. It is everything that you want a pirate game to be. Now I all of a sudden have a pirate accent, and that came from I apologize now. We better just move on. Number 5. So in at number 5, we're going to have Carcassonne. Extremely great entry-level game. I think this was one of the first games I was ever exposed to that was more advanced than, say, like Monopoly or Sorry. Carcassonne at its heart is a map tile layer. Worker placement also involved. It's a very strategic game as you try to build cities and roads and claim them for points. However, the other players are going to be trying to also lay tiles to be able to jump in and steal your cities or roads. Because at the end of the day, the person who has the most of their workers side of a place gets the points. So you gotta be careful. You gotta always guard yourself. You can't let yourself get too big trying to make a mega city. It happens every time we play. Someone tries to make mega city, and it's just every time. So, with that being said, there are many fun expansions that you can add to the game. I believe there are 11 in total right now, not including the mini expansions, that all add their own little flair, yeah, or some other mechanic that they wanted to add to the game. And they are fun. You can mix and match them. You can play with all of them if you'd like. I find it to be very hard to keep track of everything when you're trying to play with plus the amount of tiles that you have. It makes the game turn into an all-day affair if you're playing with the amount of tiles that I have for that game. And the randomness is great. All these tiles get placed into a bag. You have no idea what's going to come up next. So it's impossible to plan because you might draw a tile and it's a road and you're trying to build a city. Just try to make it work with what you got. The game supports up to 5 players. Fantastic. And like I said, it's very easily approachable. There are some super fancy versions of this game. Premium, I think, is a good word for it. But there's like laser cut tiles for the game, which are immaculately beautiful. I had a friend of mine who actually also owned an actual wood tile version of Carcassonne, where all of the tiles were hand. Gorgeous. Gorgeous game. And I think it's a great one that I love getting to the table as much as I can, because generally, like I said, it's an all-day affair with the amount of stuff I have, and my friends want to play it all day. But let's not stop there. Let's get some 4. So at number 4, we have Ticket to Ride Legacy. Okay. Ticket to Ride fan. Oh, there's a lot of you out there. Oh, you love your game. I have played many of the basic Ticket to Ride games. And while I found them enjoyable, this version of Ticket to Ride, I don't care which one's your favorite, this one trumps it. Every time. The legacy component of a Ticket to Ride game, or decisions and choices you make the game before matter. Oh, chef's kiss. It's so good. Let me tell you, I was blown away when I tested this game last year. Yes, last year at Gen Con. Bought it immediately. The minute after I got done playing it, had to go to the booth, had to buy it, because I knew this was going to be a big hit in my gaming group. I would sit down and play this game, whole campaign, in a day if I had the time. 12 games long, so it's not too long in the earlier games. You can kind of get through very quickly. Well, because US and you're playing with the Eastern Seaboard. As you play with the game, go west. So the map gets bigger. And with every new territory that gets added, there are new rules, which I don't want to spoil anything. So I can't talk about it too much. But know this. It's so good. It is so good. We've already talked about buying a second copy with my game group because we had so much fun playing it the first time. That's how good it was. And the great thing about this Ticket to Ride Legacy, once you're done with the campaign, you have your own custom map for Ticket to Ride that will be different than anyone else's that ever plays the game. It's unique, super fun. The rules for the game spelled out very easily so you can understand how it all works. The rule book's incredibly well organized for when you have to add new rules to it, progress through the campaign. And honestly, this game, this was hard to even put at number 4 because it's that good. The top 3 though are pretty locked in where they're at. So unfortunately, it had to get relegated to number 4. But anyway, been 3. At number 3, we have KDM, better known as Kingdom Death Monster. This was the first game I ever kickstarted. And even with the delays and how long it took me to get my hands on the physical copy, it was life-changing for me. This game is so beautifully illustrated, from model components to the rule book. It's incredibly visually. The game, however, brutally difficult. If you like a challenge, this is your survivor game dream. Because nothing is easy. Everything's a challenge. This game also represents a settlement portion of it. You have to build your last holdout for the survivors. There's crafting. The game scales based on the amount of players you have. It offers a very tactical and strategic aspect to it for combat. And little hint I will give you, should you ever pick up this game, everything's a resource. I mean, everything. Like I said, everything's a resource. That includes people are also. Use them wisely. These models that come with KDM, there's some assembly required. So it is another part of the hobby. But if you love painting and making models, this is a great game for you. I mean, especially if you like to magnetize it, because there's so many different weapons, armors, that it's kind of important for you to be able to change them out, I guess. But if you have something you really like and you wanted to make, then put that. This game, I have to say, definitely not for the kiddos. There are some iconography and scenes inside the rulebook, and just overall on cards that are not very nice. Doesn't look that brutal part. Why I stressed this at the beginning of my description. It's tough to look at if you're squeamish. Leave it at that. Yeah, possible nightmare fuel. I'm thinking about it more. Kind of where I'm at. However, there are a boatload of expansions, KDM, and I mean a lot. They have constant content coming out for this game every year. New models, new encounters, new campaigns even. I think when I fortunately had to sell my copy of KDM, I think there was 3 campaigns out at the time. Like People of the Sun, People of the Dragon, and Watch, I think, the basic one. Those were the only ones out when I started. I know that there's an entire Campaigns of Death book that has came out. These models are S tier beautiful. I mean, they are gorgeous. if you like that macabre feel of art. I would highly recommend this game. Even if you're not into the game and you like the models, it's a bit pricey, yes, but gorgeous and totally worth it if that's your thing. But enough about KDM. Let's move on to number 2. In at our number 2 spot, we have Terraforming Mars. I cannot recommend this game enough. Any group, just starting out, veterans, it doesn't matter. This game is phenomenal. Super easily approachable. It's a tableau builder, little bit of resource management. And let me just tell you, it's a blast. Every little part of it. Not super complicated. Get it to the table, supports 5 players. It's an absolute riot every time we play. A little bit of backstabbing with each other, causing comets to hit, screwing people over with what they're trying to do. It's amazing. Solo player mode with one of the expansions that just released last year. Awesome. Love being able to play this solo. A digital version, if you like to play on Steam, doesn't have all the same expansions and everything that are in board game format. However, they're still releasing stuff. It'll get caught up. It'll be great. Then you can play against AI, so you don't even need your whole group. So it's a nice balance from then needing the automata version. Let me just tell you, this game has 3D tiles. I am a sucker for premium components. I love aren't in this game, but many other games that we have shown you on this always go add something to the game, tactile feel, and it makes the game pop right off the board. And you can't ask for more. It's cardboard for the most part. Cards, or I guess also cardboard. Thinking about that. A little slow. However, there's tons of expansions for this game. Multiple hemispheres that you can buy so you can get away from your basic map. Probably played on 100 times by the time you need them. There's also 3 bigger standalone expansions. First one being Venus Next, which adds like a whole Venus board that you also can try to terraform for extra points. There's a Colonies expansion, adds like trade routes to different locales for extra resources. Awesome. There's a Turmoil expansion. It adds like a whole political aspect between all the companies. And that one kind of changes the game a little bit too much for my taste. I think Colonies and are very well implemented. Turmoil, if you like that kind of game, it's a good fit, but I feel it takes away. When you sit down to play this game, you take control of a company. Each company has some kind of perk. Try to do a lot more because they will. Then on top of that, there's some jumpstart cards to give resources when you start the game. Company perks. There's multiple ways to win the game. Just fantastic because, as I said, all the companies have different buffs. Got to be more than one way to win. Try to build your tableau in your deck in your hand of cards. Maximize ability to score points. There's a card drafting mechanic that I think needs to be the standard. Generally, when a round's over, every player gets out 4 cards. Choose the ones you want to keep, pay for them, they go to your hand. Great. I like the draft mechanic. Take one out of that 4 because maybe you have like only one good card. Pass your hand to the left. Sucks when you're the guy that has the 4 good cards. Like I gotta choose one, and what do my opponents want to my left and right that I want to make sure they don't get. Maybe you hate draft something. Love draft mechanics in games. Always make for some fun banter at the table. Good teasing. It goes a long way to make the afternoon. This game, someone says they want to play it. I am down anytime that people want. so well put together, simple. Like there's some more advanced mechanics, like the further you want to go into it, but at its core, it's super approachable. That's really what I can't hammer out. The idea of just terraforming and colonizing another sounds super cool. I wish we could do that now. We're almost there. Maybe in like another 100 years, maybe. But I digress. With all of these extra add-ons, expansions, we at Broken Wheel Game have been toying with the idea of big map where we have like 3 hemispheres on the table. We have to terraform the whole thing. I think that would be an incredibly fun game. It would make it like a whole day affair. But it could be so fun where every space has to be terraformed. Like all the planets need to meet all their requirements, but every space, every me, that sounds. I am down for that. But that's enough about terraforming Mars. Let's get at number 1. We have my holy grail of games, ISS Vanguard, Awakened Realms. Not worthy. We not worthy game. Sci-fi enthusiasts, go get this game now. There is no option where you do not get this game. Do you like Star Trek? Do you like Mass Effect? Go get this game. I am telling you, it will have you glued to that freaking app on your phone as you go through this campaign. We played and had to schedule a once a month session for this game. It's still going. We have played through the base game. We have finished it. We are currently on the second of 3 campaigns when we kickstarted this game. Or Game Found. Sorry. We can't stop playing. It is so well done. Components are premium. I splurged and got it all sun drops, so even the models look gorgeous. I can't get this game to the table fast, and I can't wait to share it with anyone who ever expresses interest with it, because it's that cool. The legacy format, all your choices that you made in previous missions, it all plays out, it all matters. How you handle certain onboard situations, all of these things factor in. You only have so many resources, unless you end up finding some weird workaround like we did, found a way to like farm in the game. I don't think we were supposed to do that, but we made it work within the rules. Checked, and we just kind of broke it. Great. But planetary exploration, going to each of these like different locales and environments, and learning how to deal with the hazards, fauna, and civilizations that are on these other planets. It was just such a interesting dynamic of a game that I hadn't seen done well to this level. Because you're the first human man ship going to space. That is the premise of the game. There's no one else, there's no roadmap. It's like the original Star Trek. You are the Enterprise. You are going out and exploring. That's your whole gig. So obviously things happen, tragedy. Even people dying in the game is kind of a good thing. Did you get some benefits when that happens? But like I said, there aside from the base game, there's 2 other expansions that come with it: the Lost Fleet and Deadly Frontiers. I can't wait to get to Deadly Frontiers, and I think we're probably about halfway through Lost Fleet right now. I wish we could get together more than once a month. It's so good. Different sections have like overrules, or have the ability to overrule other sections of the ship. It's such a dynamically well put together game that I can't talk enough about it. I really can't. And really does scratch that Trek vibe. I think deep down, many of us like that. The idea of exploration, seeking out something to escape a little bit. Pretty great. But that runs out my top 10. I appreciate you all hanging out, checking it out with me. I'm sure Vic and Barry will have their top 10s up pretty soon too. And then we will have to clash. Create the ultimate top 10. Hoping most of mine make it to the top 10. I don't think that's going to happen. All very different gamers. But yeah, we'll catch you guys next time. I'm Mikey with Broken Wheel Gaming. Peace out.